thank you to our sponsor, MBA Growth Partners.
Welcome to Studio 501c3. I'm your host, Kim Jones, and I want to thank Montgomery Community Media for letting me sit here and help to bring you valuable information and resources. This show features nonprofit organizations that the IRS has designated as a charity under 501c3 because they provide a public benefit, and in most cases, your donations to them are tax deductible. I'm happy to welcome today Debbie Riley, the CEO and co-founder of the Center for Adoption Support and Education. Their acronym is CASE. CASE improves the well-being and permanence of children and their families through adoption, competent mental health services, a training network, research, and advocacy. Welcome, Debbie. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about, just as an overview, the organization, because there's a treasure trove of resources, programs, and information on your website that people can access. But tell us a little bit about how you co-founded and the major programs that you offer.
Sure. Well, CASE is a, kind of a very specialized organization that, as you said, supports the foster adoption and kinship community here in Montgomery County and the surrounding counties here. I co-founded it almost 25 years ago. I am an adoptive parent. I have a 31-year-old son with my husband, and I'm also a marriage and family therapist of about 35 years. And that all kind of came together, and I'd worked in different mental health settings in the community here in Montgomery County and was really sort of struck by the overrepresentation of particularly children from foster care who needed higher levels of mental health care. And, as you begin to think about something personally, you're kind of wondering why that was. And I began to see that there was a real void, that there wasn't an alignment of specialized services to really meet the needs of this population. And I met my co-founder, Kathleen Dugan, along the way over 25 years ago. She and her husband adopted 8 children. They have 4 biological children. Wow. And together we started CASE literally in a bedroom in my home. And now 25 almost years later, we have 55 employees and we serve about 600 children a year, providing specialized mental health services to this population and their families.
Do you feel like that there is more of a challenge in bringing about more awareness about the mental health issues for the adoption community as opposed to some other segment of the community?
I think there is. It's an interesting question, and I think often we celebrate, and we should celebrate adoption. I mean, every child deserves a permanent, loving family, right? And I think that's, people see it as a solution, like, okay, that's wonderful, but may not understand the inherent challenges, either normal challenges of just, how do you help young people think about how this experience came to them and their families and what it means to be adopted and some of the identity issues. And then for children that we're supporting that come from, deep adversity, how do you help them navigate and heal from trauma, loss, and separation?
Yeah. What about attracting, you said you have a team of 55 and you probably need more, but how do you attract the professionals that work with you to do all of this good work? Because you have a national network.
Well, some come, like myself, with some lived experience connection to adoption, whether they're adoptees or adoptive parents or foster parents or, might be birth parents themselves. We see that as a pretty prominent in our field. And I think others, we're hoping that we're exciting them about this specialization and what CASE is so special in its inception and what we do, that they want to come here. I think, now with the challenge of the workforce as a result of COVID, our industry as educators has been hit hard. And I think there are a lot of people that don't want to do this work. And we're partnering with University of Maryland School of Social Work to actually attract newly engaged social work students to want to come here and learn about the work. And I'm hoping that we'll hire them and they'll stay and we
Right.
can mentor them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know it's important work. Are you optimistic because there is probably because of COVID? I think we're all paying more attention to mental health needs overall, and of course, like you said, specialized mental health needs for every population. Are you more optimistic that that is becoming a little more aware in people's minds and in legislators' minds and all the officials that work in the industry?
I believe so. We're really advocating, we are in a mental health crisis right now and great need. And I think the advocacy and the education, and as I said about the partnership with University of Maryland, it's a healthcare initiative that's funding that initiative. So I do think that we're much more cognizant about removing the biases around mental health. And being much more open and not judging, and people feel safer to access, and the racial equity lens around accessing services. And so that's something that I feel really passionate about. Obviously, I've been doing this work for a very long time and want to make sure that we remove all barriers in access to treatment at the same time that we're engaging professionals and our partners and our funders to want to support this unique population.
Yeah, that's very important. I want to talk to you a little bit more about some of the resources that are on your website, but we have to take a break in just a minute, and then I want to know a little bit more about what your plans are for the future as well. So hold tight. We'll be right back. Studio 501c3 will be right back after a short break, and we'll hear more about the programs and services for the Center for Adoption Support and Education.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Studio 501c3. I'm talking with Debbie Riley, CEO and co-founder of the Center for Adoption Support and Education. So we were talking a little bit about, some of the resources that are available. Tell us, because I've seen your website, and it's an incredible amount of information, material, referral, resources that people can use, and not just your community of adoption families, but almost anybody, can access information and find something useful. So tell us a little bit about those resources.
Sure. So we've been addressing a bit about the mental health aspect. And so we have a specialized cadre of mental health professionals that are trained, as we say, adoption competent training that provide a range of services to children, adolescents, and families. Education is part of our name, so that's very important. We have a training institute, a national training institute, and embedded there are webinars, there are resources, fact sheets. We create our own publications. So, as I said, I'm a strong believer in paying it forward, of making sure everybody has the knowledge that we have. So,
I'm sorry. The education component is available to anyone across the country. It's not just Montgomery County.
That's right. So anyone can access Jockey. The founders of Jockey Underwear actually support our webinar series. Deborah Waller, who's the CEO, is actually an adoptee.
Okay.
So our Strengthening Families webinar series is available to anyone. It's free. There are other free resources. I said fact sheets. We have workshops for organizations in the community to train professionals within the schools, private practitioners, pediatricians, judges, anyone who really interfaces with our population of children. We've created our own publications, so we do a lot of internal writing and self-publishing, and I've written my own book called Beneath the Mask, Understanding Adopted Teens. You can see a few masks in the picture here. So that book is really about the challenges of being an adoptee during adolescence. You know, how does your identity become complicated by being adopted? And then we're leading a national initiative across the country to build the workforce of training child welfare workers, mental health providers, and caseworkers through a large federal initiative where we've created 2 free web-based training programs to enhance one's understanding of the mental health issues, particularly of children in foster care and who have moved to permanency, and that's called NTI, and that is free. It's 20 to 30 hours with free CEUs attached. So again, there's as you said, I'm glad you could see it. Wealth of resources.
Yeah, that's an incredible resource and I know people in the community here that have also accessed information through you or have been to some of the workshops. They might have been a first-time adoptive parent and heard about you, and there's always wonderful things that have been said. So it is really good work. We've only got about 30 seconds or so left, but any important initiatives that you have on the horizon that you want to share?
Sure. Probably the most important one is that, we're moving into our 25th year, and starting January 1 for the next year, we'll have lots of celebrations and way to showcase the impact that we've had, but also to recognize a lot of our leaders in the community, a lot of our businesses and philanthropists and staff, just, thanking them.
Will be on your website. You'll have that. All right, we're going to put that up. Debbie, thanks so much for being here and sharing the programs and the services that you're providing through CASE. It is a wonderful organization that is a great tool for the community.
Thank you, Kim.
For more information on CASE, visit their website at adoptionsupport.org. I'm Kim Jones. Thanks for joining us, and come back for another edition of Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media.